A legendary drummer, rising young talent, and some of Charleston's best eats all coming together for one unforgettable night. Let's welcome Augustus Obie Morant, President and Managing Director for the Joey Morant All That Jazz, and two-time Grammy Award winner and member of Frankie Tanky, and our good friend Charlton Singleton. Thank you both for being here. So good to see both of our good friends back in the studio.
Awesome to see you. Thank you.
Yes.
Again.
Again, I know, and you're welcome anytime you want. And I love programs that instill a sense of love for the arts. It's so character building, it's future building, and that's exactly what All That Jazz is about. So Joe, could you, Obie, kind of get into a little bit more of what the mission is behind All That Jazz?
Yeah, so we have two. The original was to continue what we found out after my dad passed, what he did. He used to help people in all these myriad of ways that we had no knowledge about until after he passed, and people started sending us messages after some interviews that we did. And so so we call it needs-based help. And so we were able to help kids and families, musically gifted, with essential needs that are urgent. And there's
what are some of those needs that you're
so
talking about?
It could be bills that the family needs as a whole. It could be food, clothing. It could be, they could request it, put in a request for a need, and the last minute they can turn around and say, oh my gosh, we need this instead because we're having a problem. And we can turn around and do that.
Amazing.
Whereas other organizations, just because of certain limitations and and the other, maybe can't.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that to downplay
No,
any
of
other
course,
organization,
yeah.
just saying that because of how we're doing it, we have the freedom. But it's also a lot more work for us,
Sure.
and it requires a lot more fundraising, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
And that's why you're having this concert fundraiser, and
Absolutely.
you're going to be performing at that, Charlton. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit more about what people can expect from this concert.
Well, first of all, I always lead with the fact that it's Bernard Purdie.
Yes.
And if you don't know who Bernard Purdie is, he might not be a household name to the average person, but in the music world, he is, quite up there.
He's the legendary drummer that we were alluding to in the very beginning.
Correct. He is a legendary drummer. He has toured with or recorded with people like Aretha Franklin, James Brown, Lou Donaldson, all these jazz musicians, all of these rock musicians, these funk musicians, just everything. If you were to ask most modern drummers to name their top list of drummers, top 5. Bernard Purdie is definitely going to land in there. As a matter of fact, my running joke now is that there's probably not going to be a lot of drummers playing on that night because they're all going to be there to watch, almost like Kiss the Ring. It's Bernard Purdie. And on the flip side of that, being from the Lowcountry, being a trumpet player, being a musician, being an entertainer, you gotta know who Joey Morant is.
Yes, indeed.
And Joey Morant was a very important mentor to me and a lot of other musicians around town. And so when Obie hit me up and was like, yo, we're bringing Bernard Purdie to town because he played with Pops. And at first I was like, that doesn't surprise me because of who Joey Morant is and all of the incredible artists that he has worked with. And then he asked me, he said, do you want to sit in with Bernard Purdie?
Oh, my God.
Okay.
But you're a two-time Grammy Award-winning musician yourself.
I understand that, and I feel blessed to have been a part, and still being a part of Ranky Tanky and everything. But I still
You're a legend yourself.
I still get
Charlton.
starstruck when I am in front of somebody that I consider to be a mentor and somebody that I listen to and learn from, such as Bernard Purdie. So when he's coming to town and in this event that that Obie and his family and this organization is offering to the public as a free event, with donations we greatly appreciate.
Of course.
One other thing on top of that, just to bring it around full circle, Joey Morant is one of the first persons to participate in the Moja Arts Festivals. Joey Morant was one of the artistic directors of the Moja Arts Festival.
And that's obviously in conjunction, with the Moja Arts Festival.
I mean, it's right there.
Make sure everyone
It's
knows
right
it.
there.
That's a very pinpoint, because Dad and Mom, and I don't talk about this a lot, but except in private when I meet with people, but Dad and Mom were actually essential in helping to, I don't want to say resuscitate, but to give another spark of rejuvenation to the Moja Arts Festival back in the 80s when our family moved us back here, because my dad was, just like what we're showing now, performed and recorded and traveled with so many phenomenal mega stars in all genres of music. And so he helped bring some of those musicians, that talent, to the festival back in those days, which kind of, so thanks for
I know, and everything really does come full circle.
Sure
I want to
does.
get to the details of the event. We do need to take a break. So when we come back, we're going to get to the details of when and where you can see this fantastic performance. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. We've been joined by Obie Morant, President and Managing Director for Joey Morant, All That Jazz, and of course our two-time Grammy Award winner from right here in the Lowcountry, Charlton Singleton. We've been talking about this wonderful event that's happening in conjunction with the Moja Arts Festival. This is to raise money. You've got a new program called More Music, and I want you to explain to the audience how important that is to the world of music, to your immediate community right here.
Yes, so up until this point, we've been helping kids and families. So our kind of objective is we help musically gifted families and their, musically gifted youth and their families from underserved communities in Charleston and Tri-County area. So that's a need-based help. What we're now embracing is to help kids and families understand the other avenues of music that they can delve into. So for example, if you're becoming a doctor and you got your mind set on it, you know automatically, well, you could be a surgeon, you could be a heart guy, you could be all that stuff. But with music, a lot of kids specifically don't learn all of the other things. They see them.
That's right.
When they go to a concert, they see the big stages, but who's putting these stages together? Who's managing the people that are on tour? Who's the guitar techs who make just as much money as doctors if you get on the right tour? So there's so many things. Entertainment law.
That's right. Just the really
publishing.
behind the scenes.
Publishing.
So
there's so many different things, and so because of the relationships that we have from doing this for so many years, not getting any Grammys. But from doing it so long, we have these relationships with different folks, and so we want to introduce the youth and their families to these options that they can kind of settle into, learn about, and not be grasping for straws or air.
Right, exactly.
If their thing doesn't
gets
pan
very
out.
frustrating, right? As an artist, and you go on so many auditions, or you just hope to make it big, or write that one song that really just kind of cracks everything open. There is no guarantee.
Correct.
It worked for you.
Right.
It worked for you, but there's a lot of musicians out there who have talent, but their talents could actually be exploited in a good way in other avenues.
Absolutely. I mean, when I go to schools, one of the first exercises I do with students, I say, name all of the careers that you can have in music. And of course, everybody thinks of being a performer. And I said, well, there is entertainment law. There are, studio engineers. There are guitar, drum, keyboard techs, and all of that. And I explain all of these to them, and they're like, oh, okay. I tell them about how we have songwriters, people that they've probably never, they might read their name, they might not know them by face or whatever have you. Some of those songwriters never step foot on stage.
That's right.
One of the greatest songwriters in the world was a guy named Rod Temperton. If you looked at him and saw him, you would never know that he is the person responsible for, arguably, the greatest album of all time, Thriller. He wrote all of these songs, and Heat Wave, this band, and all of this stuff. But these are different careers that are out there for students to find out about. And with their organization and how they are presenting it to it's really a win for those students to find out.
And you actually become better at those particular jobs because you have the background and the understanding, the intimate understanding, knowledge, and experience of being a performer, being in those shoes. You know, you look at someone like, say, an Ahmet Ertegun from Atlantic Records. Well, he put some of the best music together, but he wasn't on stage.
Right,
he was just this little Turkish guy, you
Yeah,
know, that,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
he ran this incredible label,
Yeah.
but he allowed these other musicians to sing and everybody won, you
That's
know? So that's a really important lesson that I think a lot of kids need to know earlier the better.
Yes.
Because then they can really set on that trajectory, and it doesn't mean you have to put down the instrument. You can still
That's right.
jam with a band on
Absolutely.
a Saturday night
Absolutely.
or practice in your
And,
garage.
and you
know,
may
it's-
end up becoming that
still
person
could.
eventually.
You still could,
So,
yeah.
so it's not an either or.
That's right.
It's just making sure that you are giving yourself another option,
That's
giving
right.
yourself another pathway to still exist within the industry,
Exactly.
and not having to say, "Oops, well, this one didn't work right,
Yeah.
you know, so far. So let me now become something else
True,
out
yeah.
of the music industry,"
Yeah.
which loses hope, and then later on in life, you know, you're, you know, my age, 130, and you're saying,
You don't look a day over 30. So what is your secret?
That's nuts. But
You too, Charlton.
Thank you.
oh my gosh. So yes,
Yeah.
so that's what the goal
Yeah.
is to
great.
make sure that these kids and there's families, because one thing that we know is that when we're in high school and middle school, our families show up for the for the performances, and they're like, yeah, that's my kid.
Yes, of
and
course they're
and
proud.
then when that's done, some parents don't have the insight either. And so now they're like, hey, so okay, son, daughter, what are you going to do now?
Right,
When
right.
they're after they graduate or when they're about to graduate. We don't want the families to have to do that either. We want the families to understand. We're trying to get the families
It's a
to walk
holistic
this
picture.
journey together.
Completely,
Yes,
completely.
yeah.
All right. So the concert fundraiser
Yes.
for this event, this is happening Saturday, October 4th at 6 p.m. Doors open at 5:30 at Burke High School. So
Yes,
that's going to be, again, kind of a full circle moment, and it's just local, and it's wonderful
Yep.
for all these kids and parents to come and see, and make sure tickets are free, but it is a fundraiser. So be generous.
Yes.
I want to thank you both so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
You had
Thank
one
you.
more thing to
I
say?
did want to say that we have a phenomenal stage that night. Besides Bernard Purdy, besides our friend Charlton Singleton, we have Oscar
If that's
Rivers.
not enough.
Oscar Rivers playing piano
Yes.
and saxophone, because he's a phenomenal saxophone.
You didn't tell me
player.
Oscar was going to be there.
Yeah.
That's pressure.
Uh-oh.
That's another one.
We got Alva Anderson. We got Paul Gilpey. We got Nolan Tecklenburg. We got Charles Miller. We have Jillian Cohn. We have a loaded
It's a recipe
stage.
for
It's
a
loaded.
fantastic night. All right.
And it's
Get your
free.
And it's
Come
free.
on.
Get your tickets. Everyone. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We'll be
Thank
back
you.
after this.